Huge day. There were a couple of times that Diddy actually turned down a plea bargain from prosecutors as recently as Friday. 150 potential jurors were questioned to determine their qualification to serve. Four accusers, including R&B singer Cassie Ventura, are expected to testify. Cassie has stated that she will use her real name in court. Sean Combs maintains that all sexual encounters were consensual. His legal team argues that he is the target of unfair prosecution and racial bias. Opening statements are scheduled for next week, and the trial is expected to last at least 8 weeks. If convicted, Diddy could face life in prison. I want to go to my panel. Dr. Julian Malvo, economist, president emerita, Bennett College, author of Surviving and Thriving, 365 Facts in Black Economic History, joining us from D.C. Dr. Omekongo Dibinga Sr., professorial lecturer, School of International Service, American University, author of Lies About Black People, How to Combat Racism, out of D.C. Glad to have you. Look, here's the thing here. Julian, when you talk about this, first of all, it's shocking that this has moved this fast. I mean, I know some other folks who have been indicted on lesser charges, and it's taken them 2 to 3 years to get to court.
At the same time, he has been incarcerated all these months, and I think that puts some pressure on to move this quickly. But to be honest with you, Roland, I hate to say I don't care. I do care, but it's not with the idiot in the house that enslaved people built. This is not number one on my list of priorities. I feel badly for the brother, but it seems like he did a whole lot of dirt. And hey, let the chips fall where they may.
Well, it's not a question on Congo of what's number one on the list. I mean, the reality is, even with Trump being in the White House, I mean, life still goes on. There are going to be trials, there are going to be arrests, there are going to be all sorts of different things going on. And the reality is, this is a huge story. You're talking about one of the most impactful figures in hip hop music in the last 25 plus years, not just music, but also in fashion and so many different areas. You know, Sean Combs impacted the careers of a lot of people. This is a major, major trial.
This is huge, and it's important for the country. It's important for the rule of law and all of that stuff, of course. But it's really important for our community. This is, you know, coming after the R. Kelly trial. This is another opportunity for people in our community who have done terrible things against members of our community, particularly Black women and young Black women, young Black men and boys, possibly boys as well. I don't know. We'll find out with this trial. Who have done terrible things by our community and have been allowed to get a pass, literally Roland, for decades. We blasted their music. They rose to the top of society, soundtracks and deals, Pepsi, you know, commercial deals, all of these things. Diddy was on top of all of that. He was the untouchable star. And he got off of other charges, you know, the gun possession thing, you know, all these other type of things. And this is an opportunity, hoping that everything goes smoothly in terms of the people are able to testify, get their stories out, are not harassed, you know, intimidated, and so on and so forth. I think there's a lot of other guys in the industry who are probably shaking in their boots right now as this trial's getting to start. But we need to use this as a moment for us who are in hip hop, who are quote unquote elders in hip hop, to make sure that we're using this as an example to take control of this industry, to make sure that we're setting an example for future generations of artists as well as listeners of hip hop to know that they'll be protected and respected. Maybe not so much in the lyrics. Hopefully that can change too, but at least in these physical spaces, because so much has gone on in our community. I was listening to LL Cool J's Big Ol' Butt came on the other day. And like the second verse of that is about him picking up girls at a high school, right? You listen to BBD, Do Me, you know, the backstage, underage, adolescent, how you doing? Like, there's been so many things that were normalized as part of the culture as it relates to being involved with young people. But then Diddy took it to a higher level with everything that he's accused of in terms of physical abuse, Cassie, and all these other issues. So this could be a great reckoning for us in hip hop, and we all should pay attention.
This is the New York Times story here. It said many of the potential jurors said they had been exposed to the case on television, at the gym, through water cooler talk among coworkers, via a comedian making jokes on Instagram. That exposure was not necessarily disqualifying, as long as the potential jurors, who are not being identified by name, said they could decide the case based only on the evidence they saw in court. Quote, "You understand that Mr. Combs is presumed innocent," the judge asked one potential juror, who said she had heard about the case on the radio and had been aware of Mr. Combs' music and celebrity since the 1990s. Absolutely. At one particular point, one of the jurors asked the judge for a restroom break, and the judge, it says, the judge expressed hesitance. Mr. Combs spoke up briefly. "I'm sorry, Your Honor, I'm a little nervous today." Those were the only words it was quoted as speaking today. And then regarding the Cassie tape, one potential juror said, quote, "It was upsetting to watch, but I don't know the full story." You see here, some of the questions were more tailored to the case. Did potential jurors have experiences with artists in the hip-hop community that could jeopardize their impartiality? How about allegations surrounding commercial sex workers, which is a core part of the government's case? When these cases, people, "Oh my God, look at this here. Oh, this is bringing black people down." Now, here's a white man who was 80 years old, who was accused of essentially the exact same thing. And so I need people to understand that what this is not an indictment on black people. This is not an indictment on hip hop. This is not an indictment on music. This is literally the entertainment industry, and we've seen stories like this, Hollywood, music, fashion, across the board.
Yeah, I'll be honest. When the Me Too movement started to really pick up, Weinstein and Cosby and so on and so forth, I was actually very dismayed at the fact that I felt like hip hop got a pass. Like, I can't think of any major hip hop artist during that particular time when Me Too was really, really popping that got put on there any of these charges, right? And then, the R. Kelly documentary and stuff came out. I mean, this stuff has been going on for a while, but hip hop finally kind of came out unscathed. And now this is not the issue anymore. And so you're absolutely right that if people who are consumers of hip hop, who are part of the hip hop community, who love hip hop, if they put his accusers first, then they should be able to look at this as some form of objectivity. If they keep looking at this as, oh, this is like when Cosby tried to get NBC and all of a sudden all of these allegations came out, they're going to continue to be, jaded by what's going on. There's going to be a lot of information that's going to come out. And I think some people who are kind of still in denial are concerned that maybe some of their guys are going to come out who they like. And they got to put up their front now to kind of save face with this all. I mean, when you're talking about issues of trafficking and all of this, Diddy didn't go to anybody's house, I'm assuming, and grab somebody. There were people involved, his bodyguards, his team. So it takes a whole network of people to do things that this man is accused of doing. And so we do ourselves a disservice if we, given off of just, I didn't even know about the Abercrombie case and what you just read. So we do ourselves a disservice if we just talk about conspiracy theories, especially, I'm mad that this stuff didn't really hit the fan until people had to see the video with Cassie for stuff to really hit the fan. But
actually, this actually didn't hit the fan, even with the Cassie video. What happened? What happened was it was the lawsuit that dropped in the New York Times on a Thursday. It will sell the next day. That's what changed it, and so that's what happened. And again, it's another story. That, again, look, I follow the news. I just need people to understand what we're talking about here. Go to my iPad. This is Peter Nygard. Peter Nygard, huge in the fashion industry, was sentenced to 11 years in prison in Canada for sexually assaulting 4 women at his company's headquarters. He's still facing trials in Montreal, Winnipeg, and New York. This story here is from September 2024. He basically was accused of doing the same thing Jeffrey Epstein was doing. He actually had an island. He actually had his own place in the Bahamas where people talked about the wild sex parties and things along those lines that actually happened at his home there as well. Again, when you see this story here, the prosecutor in Canada said Peter Nygard is a sexual predator. He is also a Canadian success story gone wrong. Nygard, 83 years old, and again, convicted and is still facing trials in Canada and the United States. And so so let me be real clear for people who are watching and listening. This is not about, this is about making excuses for Diddy. No, I want our people to understand, don't get caught up in this nonsense of black pathology. Because, and it's going to happen. And I guarantee you, you're going to watch white mainstream media and you're going to see them talking about this here, and somehow they're going to make this an indictment on black people, on hip hop, on young artists. We need to understand what is happening in the United States when it comes to police brutality. Right now, 2 blocks from us, sitting in the Oval Office, is somebody who supports thugs, somebody who supports officers. Remember, we had Megan Cundiff on, and we talked about the case of this Los Angeles County deputy sheriff who was convicted. Let me say it again. He was convicted of beating her. She was an innocent bystander. She was videotaping. Well, remember we told y'all on this show, remember we told you to be very careful, because we said what was going to come down is that Donald Trump was going to do something. Do you now realize in that particular case that the U.S. attorney, post-conviction, is offering a plea deal?
Wow.
Remember, we warned everybody what was going to happen. Remember, they asked for a 3-month extension so he could review the case. The judge, like, what the hell is there to review? The man was found guilty. He said, no, we moving forward with this. Well, this U.S. attorney offers a plea deal. Go to my iPad. Now, federal prosecutors have resigned because of that plea deal. This is the Los Angeles Times. Several federal prosecutors, including the chief of the Public Corruption and Civil Rights Section, have submitted this is the LA Times, have submitted their resignations following a plea deal offered by the new U.S. attorney in Los Angeles to a sheriff's deputy who had already been found guilty of using excessive force. 2 sources confirmed to the Times that Assistant U.S. Attorneys Eli Alcaraz, Brian Fairstein, and Section Chief Cassie Palmer resigned from the office over a post-trial plea agreement filed Thursday in the case of Trevor Kirk, an LA County Sheriff's deputy who was convicted of a felony for assaulting and pepper spraying a woman outside Lancaster supermarket. This deputy sheriff was relieved of duty. He was found guilty in February of 1 felony count of deprivation of rights under color of law and faced up to 10 years in prison. Under the plea deal filed Thursday, which still requires approval from a judge, he will serve a maximum of 1 year in prison. The government agreed to recommend a year of probation. This is still the LA Times story. In June 2023, Kirk was responding to a reported robbery when he threw a woman to the ground and pepper sprayed her in the face while she filmed him outside a Lancaster Winco. While the woman matched the description of a female suspect Kirk had received from a dispatcher, she was not armed or committing a crime at the time he first confronted her, court records show. Under the new agreement, Kirk would plead guilty to a lesser included misdemeanor violation of deprivation of rights under color of law. If the plea is approved by the judge, according to the agreement, the U.S. Attorney's Office would, quote, move to strike the jury's finding that Kirk injured the victim. Ome Congo, this right here is a perfect example. This is all Donald Trump. Donald Trump's Department of Justice does not believe that cops should go to prison. Donald Trump has said he's going to give them 100% immunity for doing their job. He issued the executive order last week to protect them financially. I need people to understand that Donald Trump is giving cops a pass. The only reason this is this is a federal trial. Donald Trump has no jurisdiction over the trial in Memphis, state trial. Can't get involved in that. Federal, he can. I'm telling you right now, Ome Congo, I'm telling you right now, write it down. If this judge rejects this plea deal, matter of fact, even if he accepts the plea deal, I guarantee you, I will put $1,000 on it that Donald Trump is going to pardon this deputy sheriff. And I love it when they love talking trash about me and, oh, you a Democrat, shield, and all they end up doing is making excuses for Donald Trump. What these individuals are doing, and it's happening before our very eyes, is that people don't understand it. This is going to reverberate against black people.
Yeah.
I need people watching to understand, and I'm trying to warn y'all. This is what we tried to warn people about before the election.
That's right.
All of that energy to combat police abuse. Donald Trump is saying, black people and everybody else, do not bother calling the Department of Justice. We're not taking your phone calls. We're not going to file any civil rights claims against these cops. We're not going to prosecute these cops. We're not going to do anything against these cops. We support these cops. In fact, Trump is saying we support these cops beating people. We are down with their heinous actions. What did we go through last week? What did we tell people last week about this? We were very clear about we were very clear. This was the executive order that he signed on April 28th. Strengthening and this is the key word, unleashing America's law enforcement. And in section 2, this is the most important thing. All of those shakedowns Donald Trump has done against these major law firms, this is where it shows up. The Attorney General shall take all appropriate action to create a mechanism to provide legal resources and indemnification to law enforcement officers who unjustly incur expenses and liabilities for actions taken during the performance of their official duties to enforce the law. This mechanism shall include the use of private sector pro bono assistance for such law enforcement officers. Nowhere in this executive order does Donald Trump give a damn about the victims of police abuse and brutality. He's saying, I am prepared and ready to protect the cops.
No question, Roland. I mean, but we know this. Getting millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars of pro bono services from these law firms, we all had to be asking, where were these services going to go? Now we see the deal with the executive order. But he's spoken many times to law enforcement, decrying the fact that they're under scrutiny. This is an extension this is lynching culture 2.0, where basically you say you can do whatever you want to somebody and expect no consequences. And if there are consequences, that the federal government will do what it has to do, what it can do to protect you. Pam Bondi, she's spoken to this. They've all spoken to this. It's criminal, but this is what I just saw some of your merch, and they had a FAFO hat, and I'm gonna give me one because this is what people voted for, and now see, you never see this violence solely visited on Black people. In order to do this to Black people, you have to do it to other people. So you're not having white people, Latinos, Trump voters, understanding that they come for us in the morning. If they come for Black folks in the morning, they're coming for you at night.
Shiloh Hendricks, okay? Shiloh Hendricks. Now, some of you have seen the video of Shiloh Hendricks attacking a Black child. Caught on video, having no problem at all being absolutely racist in these attacks on a playground. Let me show you this video. I know a lot of y'all have seen it, but I want you to understand how the racists are just jumping out of the woodworks. Watch this.
Did you call the word? It is not business. You call him an. Okay, why don't you have the boss to say it right now again? Fuck you, Nick. All right, that's what you say. You're not digging through people's shit, you dumb fuck. Nobody digging through your shit. A little fucking kid just did, you dumbass. That little kid, you call him a little child? What if he acts like one? He's gonna. Are you about to hit him? You chase him here? He took my son's stuff. So that gives you the right to call the child 5-year-old the N-word. If that's what he's gonna act. That's what you're gonna call him. That's what he's gonna act like. You know, that's a hate speech. And you can be recorded for that. I don't give a shit. Fuck off. Okay, we'll see about that, what the internet has to say about you.
The guy who's shooting that says, we'll see about that, what the internet has to say. Now, this wasn't the only video. That was a different video. Okay, so watch this one here.
Call him a child? Did you call the child the word?
Yeah, spoiler alert. While I censor it, she uses.
Now, again, this of course is, you see this gentleman, he does a lot of these videos breaking these things down. Now, she is attacking a kid while she's carrying a kid. But I want y'all to understand what's going on in terms of how the racists are just so excited by this. Then you have, again, the racists like Matt Walsh, of course, of the Daily Wire, and he's an absolutely white supremacist. He has no problem supporting racists. So listen to what he talked about.
It is, in the end, a net positive that this woman has raised $500,000. I'm glad she has. I hope she raises $1 million. I will not be joining with some of my conservative friends in wagging my finger at her donors. And I'll explain why. First of all, she does have a legitimate need for the money. The mob is truly trying to get her killed. I don't believe that a woman should have her life threatened for saying a word, even a bad one. And you could say freedom of speech, but not freedom from consequences for your speech, all you want. But if losing your livelihood and having your house burned down is a consequence of your speech, then you do not have free speech. Supporting free speech means supporting someone's ability to speak without having their family murdered for it. Okay, I mean, that should be pretty obvious. Second, more importantly, and the part that I really need everyone to stop and think about. This is the most devastating attack on cancel culture that we have seen, possibly ever. Shiloh Hendricks has, without really trying, effectively ended cancel culture. As Mark Dice said in his video about the incident, Shiloh is the final boss of cancel culture, or maybe rather the final boss that cancel culture has to fight. And I think that's right.
Here's what we have to understand on the Congo. These racists love this because they're like, oh yeah, we're winning. We now get to call you, we get to call you the N-word. We get to call you any of these things. And you know what? We're going to stand up and support our fellow bigots. We're going to come to their aid. We are going to do whatever is necessary to support them, to back them up. And the number is, somebody put right here. Someone said, this tweet is, Shiloh Hendricks doubles down after winning the racist lottery. Okay? And then you see right here where she is, she got no problem with her post at Anglo-Saxon girl using the N-word. And look at this here. Help me protect my family. My name is Shiloh, and I love this here. I have been put in a very dire situation. I recently had a kid steal from my 18-month-old son's diaper bag at a park. I called the kid out for what he was. That's the N-word. Another man who we recently found out has had a history with law enforcement proceeded to record and follow me to my car. He then posted these videos online, which has caused my family and myself great turmoil. My social security number has been leaked. My address and phone number have been given out freely. My family members are being attacked. My eldest child may not be going back to school. Even where I exercise has been exposed. Now, in this post here, you see, and this is supposedly a Christian platform. The goal is to raise $1 million. It's at $334,000. My understanding, it's exceeded $700,000. So the racists and the bigots are saying, oh, no. We've got to protect this fellow racist. We've got to protect this bigot. We've got to have this bigot's back. So by God, we are going to make as much, we're going to sit here and raise as much money as we can. They're on this platform called Give, Send, Go. That's where they've been raising the money. And give me 1 second, because I want to pull this up. So folk can understand how these racists are doing. And again, they're being aided by conservative media. Conservative media is loving it. Now, here's what's crazy. If you go on here, you type her name in, you literally see legal, emergency, family, medical, emergency. You see all of these, efforts to raise money for Shiloh Hendricks. Now, the question is, what's legitimate? But we do know about $700,000 has been raised. That's what's crazy. These races are coming together and saying, yeah, here we go. One of our own. That's right. That bigot used the N-word. We got her back 100%.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you brought up the GoSendMe platform, because other platforms have no problems canceling donations and returning the money when something is found to be controversial. And I'd be very surprised to see what would happen on this website if somebody put up something that was deemed anti-Semitic. Would they cancel that? I'm very skeptical as it relates to that as well. So the hypocrisy is real, because they basically said, we don't, make judgments and so on and so forth. I would like to know where the caretakers of this child are, and if they're filing any lawsuits relating to child endangerment or something, because they're going to need to have some money raised for them as well. This was the same situation we saw with Daniel Penny in New York, and that whole situation. And now he's working for a Trump billionaire. This idea of just what did Dr. King say? You can't legislate morality, but you can regulate behavior. This idea that this behavior is just going to be allowed and be platformed and people are going to be able to make money off of it. She's probably a future Fox contributor. This goes right in line with how you came back from the break in terms of talking about the police officer. White supremacy is being platformed in every way, shape, and form. And I am not I don't even know. I haven't followed this enough to know if all of those things she's talked about are actually happening. Right. The only thing missing from her was the white tears, right?
Oh, no. First of all, look, you got them. This is the actual, they've raised $677,258. 25,413 people have donated. And you see right here, you see the list donations. And look at her. Where do I even begin? The overwhelming support that my family and myself have received is unbelievable. I have never felt so scared, yet reassured in my life. It's truly a whirlwind of emotions. You're racist. This woman is no different than the White Citizens Council. She's no different than the hooded Klan folks. Oh, so you're now scared to death because somebody exposed your racism and your bigotry, and now you're mad that, oh my God, I'm being attacked. But you had no problem attacking the young boy with the N-word. But this is what Donald Trump has unleashed in America.
That's right.
Julianne, go ahead.
Without question, but this is what he said he was going to do. This is what he did last time around. This is what he did when he forced Mayor Bowser to paper over the Black Lives Matter sign. This is who he is. And all these used to be closet racists have been given permission to behave like the jackasses, excuse my language, that they are. He's given them permission to do it. And basically, they have gone wild, gone amok. One of the things I think you said earlier, someone did, she's holding a child in her hands, in her arms, and attacking a child. What is she teaching the child that she's holding in her arms? He is going to be the third or fourth or fifth or sixth generation of racists because she showed him what is acceptable. He's going to go to the playground and call a little boy who beats him at a game, the N-word. He's going to, we can't say what all he's going to do, but he has the worst kind of role modeling. And quite frankly, the Child Protective Services needs to come and get her child because she's unfit to raise a child. And that's what needs to happen. We have to fight back. Now, this is one case out of, I don't know how many, but this is startling. And it's startling. It makes you want to lay hands on somebody. Where you say she was again? What her address?
First of all, there's an open case. There's an open case in Rochester, Minnesota, where this took place. And here's, now remember, you have two things going on here on Congo. You've got the story out of Texas that we've covered as well, where Austin Metcalf, the white kid, was killed, and the black kid was charged, both are students. But what's interesting here is there's this one person who goes by BIPOC something. This is literally what his tweet was. It's official. We won. So here's what they did. They showed how much has been raised to help the racist Shiloh Hendricks, and then they're comparing it to Carmelo Anthony, the young black kid who was charged with killing Austin Metcalf, and $520,000 was raised for his defense fund. But this person goes, "It's official, we won." Then when you go to this person's Twitter feed, they got 200,000 followers. They go by Christian colonizer. I screenshot in QT hateful, violent, ignorant, and racist tweets, hate and extremist content. X team, yeah, but you support racists. And then when you go underneath here, again, if you go underneath here, you're going to see all of these racists in their comments, and you're going to see all of the things they have to say, because this is who they support. And people need to understand, they are literally supporting bigots and bigotry. And I'm telling you right now, Donald Trump has absolutely, I mean, look at this person. We have raised over $120,000 in a few hours. This has sent a thermonuclear missile into the Overton window. Big credit for assisting all of these people. Again, going by independent journalists, this is who they are. They are openly supporting bigotry, and they got no problem doing so because they know one of their own is sitting in the Oval Office. Their own is at the Department of Justice. It's in every facet of government. They've got Stephen Miller. It can go on and on and on. racist, white supremacist, white nationalists are in control of the federal government. Omekongo, and then Julian.
Period, bottom line. Period, bottom line. You brought up Carmelo Anthony. Last time I checked, it was his family that had to move because of threats that they were getting. And, you know, we see stories like this across the country where Black families get attacked in some way, either physically or on social media. We are not the ones threatening to burn people's houses down. We are not the ones doxing people and having people do SWAT activities on people's homes. We are not the ones who were doing that. And so this whole story actually makes me more concerned for that child and his family and what's going to happen to them. Someone's going to put their information out there as well. And that's why these stories are important to get out there so people know that we have to protect them. We are the only ones who are going to be able to protect ourselves because we are dealing with a racist government. We're dealing with a racist president who, as you said, at least 6 times today already unleashed these people on us. They want the violence, they want the hate, they want the smoke. The fact that you're going to compare someone on a murder trial to a racist lady, you know, calling a child this is barbaric and disrespectful. I had a kid in my class who said that my class taught him that he was a racist because he was thinking about all of his experiences growing up. And he said when he was 5 years old, he remembers watching TV with his uncle and his uncle said, "You see that person on TV? That's an N-word." Like he was getting that so young. And for people who thought that we've come so far and these new generations are so open-minded and so on and so forth, more of these young guys are MAGA, more of these young guys are racist, and more of these folks have no problem openly putting it out there and making money off it. And these companies are out there supporting it. I don't think she's lost a job. I don't think her kids have any problems going to school. And this is part of the problem as well.
Julian?
Omekongo has nailed it. I mean, what we have going on here is racists have been given permission to be racist. There was a time when racists kept it underground and undercover. They might use the N-word around their friends, but they would never use it in public. They would never identify with it. You know, they might grouse about it. But now, hey, all bets are off. The hoods have come off. They don't have to wear hoods anymore. The Klan is out. This woman is one of them Klanettes or whatever they call them. And shame on her. But she doesn't have any shame. To even put up a GoFundMe page suggests, or whatever they call it, go, suggests that she has no shame. And all these people who are sending in the comments and the dollars have no shame either. And what it does say to me is that we have to, Black folks have to be ready. You know, if we must die, let it not be like hogs, said Claude McKay, hunted and penned to this inglorious spot. That is where we are, hunted and penned. But he concluded his poem, If We Must Die, said, pressed to the wall, dying, but fighting back. We must always fight back.
And Chief Donald the Con Trump, again, in unveiling his fiscal year 2026 budget blueprint, lays out dramatic shift in spending, big increases for defense, homeland security. So let's talk about these cuts. If Congress approves, Trump's plan calls for a 13% increase in defense spending, putting the defense budget over $1 trillion. Remember I told Cenk Uygur that they were not going to cut defense, and he's running around talking all these conservatives? Cenk, we tried to tell you. The blueprint also proposes a historic $175 billion investment to fully secure the border, including $43.8 billion for the Department of Homeland Security to ramp up deportations and finish the border wall. The budget also slashes $163 billion from non-defense discretionary spending, a 22.6% cut targeting education, environmental protection, public health, housing, foreign aid. The proposal also seeks to eliminate diversity, equity, inclusion initiatives, environmental justice efforts, and what the administration calls wasteful grants. That means Black people. Education, the chopping block. The plan would cut nearly $12 billion from the Department of Education and funding for some student aid and campus support programs, plus close the Federal Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant Program entirely. Also, international assistance would be slashed by more than 80%. The remaining funds will be consolidated into a new America First Opportunity Fund under direct presidential control. Congress will ultimately decide what gets funded, but Trump's blueprint makes clear that his second-term priorities are historic military investment, aggressive border security, and the deepest domestic spending cuts we have seen since Ronald Reagan. this is the reality. Now, while this is happening, this idiot is talking about the good parts of the economy while blaming Joe Biden for the bad parts. He sat down for the interview with Kristen Welker on Meet the Press. And if y'all want to hear somebody who is utterly delusional, listen to this idiot.
I want to start on the economy, sir, which obviously the biggest issue for voters. We got new numbers today, better than expected job numbers.
Much better.
At the same time, the economy shrank in the first quarter. You've been arguing all week that this is President Biden's economy. Is this now your economy, sir?
Well, I think certain aspects of it are. Costs are. I was able to get down the costs, but even that, it takes a while to get them down, but we got them down good. We lost $5 to $6 billion a day with Biden. $5 to $6 billion. And I've got that down to a great number right now in a record time. You know, we're talking about 100 days. But just think of what that is. $5 billion a day we're losing on trade. And we were very tough with China, as you know. We put 145% tariff on. Nobody's ever heard of such a thing. And we've essentially cut off trade relationships by putting that much of a tariff on. And that's okay. We've gone cold turkey. That means that we're not losing. You know, we lost $1 trillion to China. $1 trillion. That means we're not losing $1 trillion when we go cold turkey because we're not doing business with them right now. And they want to make a deal. They want to make a deal very badly. We'll see how that all turns out, but it's got to be a fair deal.
When does it become the Trump economy?
It partially is right now. And I really mean this. I think the good parts are the Trump economy and the bad parts are the Biden economy because he's done a terrible job. He did a terrible job on everything. From his auto pen, which I'm sure he knew nothing about some of the things he was supposedly signing.
But, sir, you acknowledge when you announced your tariffs, for example, the stock market dropped. It's been volatile. It has since gone up.
It is,
Do you take responsibility for that? Yeah. Do you take responsibility when it drops?
Ultimately, I take responsibility for everything, but I've only just been here for a little more than 3 months. But the stock market, look at what's happened in the last short period of time. Didn't it have 9 or 10 days in a row or 11 days where it's gone up? And the tariffs have just started kicking in. And we're doing really well. Psychologically, I mean, the fake news was giving me such press on the tariffs. The tariffs are going to make us rich. We're going to be a very rich country.
So the good parts are his. The bad parts, oh yeah, that's Biden. Okay. In the same interview, he was like, you know what? If there's a recession, it's fine. Listen to this. You talk about this crazy. The man's nuts.
Are you comfortable with the country potentially dipping into a recession for a period of time if you are able to achieve your long-term goals?
Well, you know, you say some people on Wall Street say, well, I tell you something else. Some people on Wall Street say that we're going to have the greatest economy in history.
Is it okay in the short term to have a recession?
This. Look, everything's okay. What we are, I said, this is a transition period. I think.
Are you comfortable?
Yeah, it's okay to have a recession. You're an economist. How brain dead is this fool?
Well, I don't think we have words to describe the level of stupidity that this man is bringing to the table, especially when he talks about it's okay to have a recession. And also in that interview, he talked about maybe the little girls would not have 30 dolls. They would have 2 or 3 and they would cost more. I don't know any little girls who have 30 dolls. Even my own very indulged little Julianne gets books from me, not dolls. But this man does not live the way that people live. So while he's poo-pooing a recession, because it doesn't affect him, it affects people who make less than the median income. Median income, half above, half below. The median income is less than 60 grand. So somebody who makes less than 60 grand is going to feel the increased cost of groceries, is going to feel recession, is going to get laid off. So while he's talking, I mean, I framed the column, Roland, by saying the Reagan question: are you better off? The question we could ask: are you better off than you were 110 days ago? And many people would say, no, they're not better off. So he's okay with the recession because it's just going to cause a little pain for people in the $200,000 a year plus bracket, enormous pain for people who are at below the median income. That means half of all Americans are going to feel it some kind of way. In addition, what he's advocating is economic chaos. And that's what we're living with, is chaos. People don't know what to do. Do you want to buy your car now or you want to wait? Our price is going to go up. He can't even get it straight. First, he says there's not going to be a tariff on automobiles. Then there's only going to be a tariff on automobile parts. Well, you need the parts for the car or if you need repairs. So basically, people who are driving are going to experience increased costs. And we can go down the list. I don't know who his economic advisors are, but they are not making any sense. And the consensus now of most economists, from the Wall Street Journal on, the consensus that we have a better than 50% chance of experiencing a recession. And some say we're in one now.